Hi guys, this is going to be a pick a crystal reading. I will show you the area real quick and then I'll show you which of the 4 crystals you will have as options for this reading. Okay, so this will be option 1. This will be option 2. This will be option 3. And this will be option 4. So you'll just want to sit with them for a minute and see which one intuitively calls to you. And then we will do a reading for each one that will reveal what message Spirit has for you right now. Alright, welcome to the first reading. If you were drawn to the first crystal, that is fire agate. And fire agate has energies of properties that help us ground, but also properties of fire which help us move and change. So this is a crystal that is going to have a gentle momentum type of energy, and it is a very protective and grounding crystal as well. So you can use this energy to help light your way as you navigate changes. So let's go ahead and get our reading from fire agate through the runes. Okay. This one is a relatively concise message. We have Perthro, and Perthro is our energy of fate. It is energy of the unknown. It is energy that you have when you take a gamble. So there is a sense that there is some sort of longing. There is a desire for something, and there is a feeling of the risk that would be necessary to go for it is acceptable because of what it would potentially provide if it was achieved. So this is very encouraging energy to start off. It is it is an energy that is telling you to go for it. So if there's something you've been on the fence about, there's something that you want to go after, but you haven't because you are still in a space of uncertainty, this is indicating that it is okay to move through that uncertainty and to still go for the objective, go for the goal. We have Rido, which is about the journey. It's about movement. It is about process. It is about cycles. So this is giving a sense that you have been in this space before. You have been in a space where there's something that you want. There's something that you feel would be of benefit to you. And I'm getting the sense that you have always played it safe, choosing to follow the path that you've taken before and having more of a confidence of what the outcome would be, even though we don't have any guarantees in life. Everything has a chance to it. Everything has potential loss. Everything has movement within it that we cannot always determine. So Rido coming out after Perthrow is a feeling that this is a call for you to take a different approach, a different direction this time, to step outside of your comfort zone, to still work within what makes sense for you, but to push those boundaries of what would make you feel safe, taking that extra little bit of risk as you begin this new cycle, because you don't want it to be the same type of repeating cycle without growth. We have 2 runes that were, there's actually 3. So we have this little pile here which was covered, which means that this energy is sitting at the core, it's sitting underneath, and it will come forward as you work on this movement, on this journey. Before we get to this energy, however, we have Hagalaz, and Hagalaz is our energy of hail. So Hagalaz is about the emotion body and the mental body. It is about the conflict between the head and the heart. So we are getting that sense again that there is a feeling of, in whatever is presenting itself, there is the option to play it safe and to go the route that you've gone before. But there is also the option to try something a little different, to stretch yourself. And Hagalaz is telling you that just like hail brings destruction, we have the hailstorms and things are not the same after. That is okay, because that change and that destruction creates space for new growth. So you will want to pay attention to balancing your mental choices and your emotional choices, and determining what the best approach is going to be between the two of those. We had Gabo come out. Gabo is the rune of gifting through mutual exchange. And since we had Rido, and we're talking about the journey, Gabo coming out lets us know that you are going to have collaboration opportunities. You are going to have other people that will be part of this particular journey that you are on right now as you seek what it is that you want. And they are meant to be support. And I'm getting it's the feeling of support in terms of a sounding board. So they are going to be able to point out places where you might not be seeing certain options, and having access to that information is what is going to help you really assess which direction you're going as you move towards uncovering what it is that you actually are wanting for this cycle. And they are going to receive benefit from this exchange as well. And I'm getting the feeling it's because they have been in a position in the past, it feels like, where their opinion has not been valued. And so as the two of you work together, or as you and this other group work together, there is going to be development and growth for both parties in the process of you heading towards your goal. The final 3 runes that we had come out, we have Thurisaz, which is lightning. So Thurisaz also is about disruption, but it is disruption that creates change. Thurisaz is our change and disruption that comes through fire energy, however. So with this one, we are talking about our energetic body. We're talking about our spirit, our soul, the things that move us in a very fundamental core way. And since this is a reading from Fire Agate, the lightning coming out is telling us that as you move and you have these slow changes and this progression, there are going to be moments where change is going to hit, and it's going to have a domino effect. It is going to strike. It is going to be like a moment of genius or a moment of insight that is really going to illuminate and change the way that you see what options are available for you. We have Jera, which is our rune of the year. It is the rune that talks to us about harvesting and about knowing the appropriate time during a cycle to take corresponding action. So this is about working to be in flow with the resources and the opportunities that are around you at a given point during a process. So in conjunction with Gabo, I'm feeling like this is a sense that there is going to be some sort of need to have assistance as you collect the bounty, as you cash in on the fruits of your labor, that it is going to be a type of harvest that is going to require some type of assistance. And because I'm feeling like Gabo's really attached to Jera in this particular reading, it also indicates to me then that the fruits of this labor are meant to be shared. So this really is, when we look at Perthro and we think about this being a situation of like taking a gamble, of really stretching yourself, putting yourself out there for something that you really want. There's a sense that this payoff is going to be so big and it's going to be so plentiful that once it is achieved, if you keep it to yourself, it will spoil because you won't be able to use all of it on your own. So with the Gabo energy, it is feeling like having help reaping these rewards, but then also the necessity to make sure that you are equally sharing where the sharing is due. The final rune that we have for our fire agate reading is Ansu's. Ansu's is our rune of communication. It is also associated with the god Odin. So communication changes based off of circumstances and situations. So there are times when it is important to speak softly. There are times when it is important to speak assertively. There are times when it is important to listen critically. There are times when it is important to listen lovingly. So do you see there's a real diversity in the way that we communicate, and it's that give and take that is going to help guide you along this path for this particular journey that is going to ultimately move you towards this reward and the sharing. So that is your reading for fire agate. I hope you guys have enjoyed this reading, and I will see you at the next reading. If you have chosen the second crystal, you have chosen Lemurian blue calcite. So this indicates that you may have a connection with Lemuria, the lost continent of Mu. You may have had past lives as a Lemurian. You may work with this energy group. They may be working with you. This is something to investigate if it feels like it resonates for you. Beyond that, blue calcite is going to be helping throat chakra, and calcites are always a very gentle and calming crystal, so they are going to help you navigate changes in a very comforting way. So the Lemurian blue calcite is going to help you speak up. It's going to help you with an honesty with your inner knowing. So really tying into your intuition and understanding that it is safe and it is okay to be honest with the things that you feel and to be able to speak that. Because remember, speaking holds power, words hold power. And so anytime that you speak, you are bringing forth that energy into the physical plane. So this, I'm just getting a feeling now of even things like speaking out loud affirmations or speaking out loud saying that you love yourself, things like that. This is what Lemurian blue calcite is going to help you with. And as you become more comfortable speaking these things, it is going to really unlock an element of you that has been residing within your subconscious, not really in a place where it was able to be expressed. So that is your initial energy for this particular reading. Now let's go ahead and consult the runes and see what the full reading is. So we have Lagus, which is the rune of, it represents the lake. So it's representing our emotion body. So it inherently deals with the subconscious realm, things that are beyond the consciousness. So what we're dealing with in this reading is going to be tapping into what I was feeling in the very beginning from the crystal, is really about going within and learning to, one, hear your intuition, and then to listen to your intuition. One of the things I think that people often forget is it takes practice being able to hear our intuition sometimes. So that is definitely one of the components, is practicing hearing your intuition, listening to it. We also have Perthro, which is our rune of the unknown. We saw this one come out with fire agate as well, so there is potential for growth. And Perthro and Lagus coming out together for this particular reading, there is a sense that what is happening right now is very deep. It really is buried very deep, and the trick or the task is going to be understanding and really relishing each little insight, each little awareness that you have along the way. So remember to celebrate victories. Remember to practice gratitude, appreciation, and speaking that into the world. You know, again, the daily affirmations. What am I grateful for? What do I appreciate? Who do I appreciate? That type of energy. So we have Manas and Berkana. Berkana is the birch tree, and Berkana as such represents our supportive, nurturing, feminine energy. So this is about growth, this is about birthing, this is about rebirthing, this is about intuition. So there really is a sense of developing something that is within, really pulling upon your source energy deep within your soul, the deepest, most core part of yourself. That is what we're looking at. That's what this reading is asking you to explore, indicating that it is time for new growth to happen. It is time for some shift or some change that is going to come about, because it is time for something to be birthed. It is time for something new to be revealed, to come about. Manas is our rune of unity. This is our rune of humanity. So Manas coming out is telling us that it is important to harness the power of unity consciousness during this particular evolution that you are going through. That within unity consciousness, we are accessing the things that we know to be true, the things that we have forgotten, We are calling upon support from guides and guardians, angelic realm, ancestors, star families. We are really being asked to tap into all of the things that go into creating what we experience as mankind, as humanity here on the earth plane. And the reason that it's about connecting into unity for this particular reading is because of Lagus and Perthro that have already come forth. So this particular situation, it really is about what is happening below the consciousness, what is happening outside of our mundane, everyday activities and awareness. We have Hagalas and we have Thurisaz that were sitting on the sides here, and Dagas is here in the middle. Dagas was covered, and Dagas is our rune of daytime, daylight. So this is an indication of a short cycle. So this is telling us that there are, like I was saying at the beginning, about relishing those little achievements and advancements that come along the way. Dagas is reminding you to make the most of each day, to not get caught up in the little details, because you will have a new day cycle just around the corner, right? We know that the sun is going to rise. We know it's going to set. There is a certain benefit to working within those cycles of productivity. The fact that it was covered means that it is going to be a little bit harder to access this remembrance. It is going to be a little harder to embrace these moments of enlightenment that we have, and to remember that tomorrow is a new day and that we do not have to accomplish everything right now. So this is about the importance of pacing yourself along this journey. We have Hagalas and Thurisaz, both runes of change through disruption, change that occurs through disruption or movement. Thurisaz is lightning, so it is fire energy. It is associated with our spiritual body, our energetic body, and Hagalas is tied into our emotion body. So this is speaking to, there is a need to really re-examine the foundations that you have been working upon. Not because there's a problem with the foundation, but because there is something that is going to make the foundation stronger once you take the time to examine it, once you take the time to really assess what is working and what's not. So that's why we have this change and this disruption happening within our emotion body and our spiritual body, our energy body. There's something that can serve us better, and that's why this change is coming through. The final rune for this reading is Sewelo. Sewelo is the sun. Sewelo is dealing about full-on illumination. So Sewelo is telling us that we also are operating within more of a cosmic cycle. when we're looking at the sun in and of itself, we understand it as part of the celestial system of our universe. We understand it as one of those larger core components of our existence here in the physical plane. So there is an understanding with Suela coming out in this reading that there is full illumination. There is the temporary insight and illumination that is happening with Thurisaz from our lightning energy. That is happening in moments of darkness or uncertainty, though. Suelo is about this understanding that is going to be tied with our insight in the daytime cycles. So this is more about after you've gone a few cycles, after you've done things a few times, and you start to understand a bigger picture, you start to understand more of your actual connection to unity, to source, your part in all of that. So that is what we have for this reading. I hope you found it helpful, and I look forward to seeing you at the next reading. If you chose the third crystal, you chose Lepidolite. Lepidolite helps us connect to our higher understanding of things. It also helps us balance our emotions. It is a micaized form of lithium. So Lepidolite really creates a sense of calm, and it creates a sense of stability and balance. And it helps us connect to our inner knowing. So let's go ahead and see what the runes have to say as we look at the energy of Lepidolite a little deeper for this reading. So the very first pieces that are coming out, because they are the three that are completely unobstructed visually, are Rido, which is about journeying. It's about cycles. We have Ansus, which is about communication. And we have Dagas, which is about the day. It's about enlightenment. It's about harnessing the energy of short cycles. So this is Ansus. This is our one about communication. Ooh. So there's a sense of honesty coming through, a sense of being open with communication, but being aware of the timing of when and how we're communicating. And that is because Dagas also came out, and Dagas is our day energy. So it is short cycles. It's an understanding that we have certain hours of productivity followed by certain hours of rest and recuperation. And we had Rido, which is our rune of movement, of journey and cycles. So this together is indicating a feeling of knowing or learning when to express and when to create. So there is always a creation period. There's always something happening within, beneath the surface, that is moving and creating. And then there is a time when that expresses, and we see it in the world. We hear it in the world. We know it in the world. So this is about understanding the timing of expression and the timing of creation, of creativity, and how those two are going to work interconnectedly in order to create complete movement through cycles as you develop and move along your path. We have Jera, which is the year. And with the year, we have an understanding of accessing the cycles during the year. So the time when we are going to be, when we think about crops, it's a time when we're going to be planting. It's a time when we're going to be nurturing and tending to. There's a time when we're going to be harvesting. And then there's a time when we are resting and waiting for the next cycle to begin. So Jera is further complementing the initial feeling I was getting with the first 3 runes coming out. So it is overlaying this energy with a sense and an understanding that it will be crucial to pay attention to the points in the cycle when the cycle changes. So when we think about the wheel of the year and each of the seasons, and we think about what each of those seasons represents and how we can best use the energy of each season to make the most out of our daily lives. It's that type of overlaying energy of awareness and action when the moment is right. We have Isa. So Isa is about stasis. It is about stillness. It represents ice, and ice can form in a variety of ways, right? When we think about it, ice can be as big as glaciers. It can be as small as a little icicle, and it can be anywhere in between. When it covers our roadways, we can have instances of black ice where it is there and it's creating an opportunity. Well, I say opportunity, but it's because I always try to think of things in terms of growth. So with black ice, you know, you're moving, you're going along your day, you're headed towards your destination, you don't see the ice, and then you lose control of your vehicle temporarily when you hit black ice. So Isa coming out is indicating to be aware of when you might slip up or when you might lose control, and that you won't always have indications of when these moments are going to happen. So what Isa is pointing out is that in each moment, each situation, during each cycle, each expression, it really is about your response to something. If it doesn't go your way, if something interrupts your path along your journey, it is about how are you going to respond to that change or to that impediment? How are you going to respond to that unexpected event? We also have Gabo, which is gifting through fair exchange. So with Gabo, I sometimes look at it in terms of X marks the spot when we look at treasure maps, or X marks the spot when you are looking at a map in a mall or on a nature trail to indicate where you are in relation to the whole. So with Gabo in this reading, it's an understanding or a feeling that there is a larger component than just yourself and your processes, than just your journeys. Well, I said journey because of Rido, but there's more than just what you are focused on achieving. That there are things that will line up because of what other people are doing. There are things that will impede because of what other people are doing. And so Gabo is reminding you that in making the best of each situation, this can look like working collaboratively. This can look like does your neighbor have salt to help you melt the ice in your driveway? Do you have electric heaters that your neighbor might need for certain parts in their house? It's that type of exchange for mutual benefit. So I'm getting the feeling that as you're moving along and as you're practicing response to unexpected situations, part of that is looking at what resources in terms of relationships, personal connections, communities, what you have available to you in that capacity that will help align you towards the path that you are seeking for yourself. We have Laguz, which is the lake. So this is about going within. This is about open emotions, whereas Isa is about closed emotions. So Laguz is going to invite you to reflect. It's going to invite you to, again, look at how are you responding. Do you want to respond differently? Do you want to respond the same? It's that type of, that reflection energy where that self-growth happens. So looking at a situation, looking at yourself, and honestly assessing what you're liking, what you're not liking, what you find beneficial, what you want to change, that type of energy. Wunjo flipped when I was pulling that one. Wunjo is the rune of joy and satisfaction. It also is a sense of completion in the sense that when we have those moments of happiness and bliss, we feel complete. We're not really looking for anything else beyond that emotion that we're having in that moment. You know, happiness and joy and bliss, the positive emotions like that, you'll never find a situation where people are like, man, I just can't wait for this to be over. It's not one of those emotions that we seek to escape. So that is why, I mean, it has a sense of completion to it. So the fact that this flipped over while I was picking up Laguz indicates to me that there will be joy in these moments of reflection. They're going to be unexpected. They're going to be surprises. And it really is about, when those moments happen, just embrace them to their fullest. Just really feel into what that expression of life feels like. We have Awaz. Awaz is a representation of Yggdrasil, the tree of life, the world tree. So Yggdrasil connects us to everything. This is talking about full and complete chakra alignment. This is talking about being grounded while being enlightened. This is about the full and complete integration of all aspects of yourself. So all of this energy and this work that we've been seeing in this reading is leading to an understanding that this is the end goal, that integration and alignment, connecting with unity, and really embracing the moment, because in the present moment is when you find everything that you need. We don't really do ourselves a service by having anxiety about what could come in the future. We don't really serve ourselves by being afraid of what happened in the past, or assuming that what happened in the past will happen again after this particular moment. There's a real sense that being in the moment is how you are going to maximize your self-expression and your happiness and your contentment. And when you're in that space, that is when you are really growing and developing the things that are most important to you. And I'm looking at Elhaz as well, because I can't remember if it flipped over when I was pulling another rune. And since I couldn't remember, that indicates to me that it is part of this message. So Elhaz is about protection. It's about safeguarding. It is about knowing that the forces that are beyond you, the forces that are beyond your control, have benefit, they have strength, they have a type of endurance, they have a type of guidance, and those forces are on your side. So that is your reading for Lepidolite. I hope you have found it helpful, and I look forward to seeing you in my future readings. You have chosen the 4th crystal. You have chosen Serpentine with Stichtite. This is also known as Atlanticite. So the Stichtite are those tiny little purple specks that you see in it. So this particular crystal, Serpentine, is about shedding what no longer serves. It's about rebirthing. It's going to help you do this from a heart-centered space. It is an empowering energy. Serpentine also is, for me, a very high vibrating crystal. So it has more of a let's make this happen now kind of energy to it. So this one is not going to be as calm and gentle in terms of the actual changes themselves. But again, it is associated with heart chakra, so it is going to have a loving aspect to it. Now, because it has the Stichtite, which is purple, it's also going to connect us to our higher chakras and our inner knowing. So in this way, it's going to help with informed movement, informed change, informed growth. It's very complementary that way. And as I mentioned, it is also called Atlanticite. So this may indicate that you have associations with Atlantean culture, perhaps past lives, or maybe you are currently working with the energy of this collective, or they are trying to work with you. So that would be something to investigate if that feels like it's resonating. Let's go ahead and see what the runes have to say, what kind of overall message is coming through with this particular crystal. Oh dear. There is a lot going on. So, buckle up, get comfortable, grab a drink, grab snacks. This one might take a little bit. But I always want to do the readings justice, so I try not to minimize any of the energy that comes through. Okay. Very first components that are coming out for me. My attention is being drawn to like 3 or 4 different components, so this already is indicating that there is conflict or confusion about which first step to take. So we've got that kind of energy happening. I will start with Berkana. Berkana is birch tree, so this is about nurturing feminine energy. This is about birthing. This is about creation. So there is support, there is nurturing, there is growth. We also had Awaz. Awaz is representative of Yggdrasil, the world tree, the tree of life. This is about full and complete connection and alignment, all the way down from your earth star, all the way up to your soul star, all the chakra systems. It really is just about making sure that you are balancing and connecting. We also have Isa and Naudes that are pointing into the pile, where we have a very clustered type of energy, very like a knot, very congested. So the fact that these two are on the outside pointing in is very interesting, because Isa is ice and Naudes is fate. It's about a need or a necessity. So with ice, this is complete and stuck emotion. This is the densest vibration. This is the lowest vibrating component in our emotion body. When we stop having that movement, things start to freeze, right? We start to lose any type of interaction that we would have with movement through cycles, through interactions. So Isa is telling us that being stuck is going to be problematic, because there is a lot going on and it needs to move. And Naudes came out, which is, it is tied to the Norns, which are the fates in Norse mythology, and they actually reside at the base of Yggdrasil. They determine the challenges and lessons that we are meant to learn in this lifetime. And so certain lessons and certain challenges are not optional, basically. And it becomes a matter of our free will and our free choice comes into play in how we deal with these challenges, how we choose to grow and how we choose to learn from adverse situations, setbacks, conflicts, that type of energy. I also wanted to point out what's just coming through too is we have the birch tree and we have the yew tree. So we have two forms of tree energy. So we're really looking at the concept of as below, or so as above, so below. I got it a little twisted there. So we're looking also at the concept of reflection, of understanding that what we see on the surface is only part. There are huge foundational components below the surface, and there are huge foundational components that reach far above us. And then there is that connecting point that runs between the two. So the next pieces that we have here in this circle of 3, we have Hagalaz, which is hail. We have Kenaz, which is torch. And we have Ingwaz, which is seed. So these 3 creating a crescent, it's feeling like a progression energy. So Hagalaz being hail is about, it's that constricted emotional energy, right? Because they're balls of ice. And this can deal with emotional outbursts. It can deal with tantrums. It can deal with any type of energy where things have been bottled up and they've been ignored and resisted until the point when they no longer can be. And therefore they erupt and they cause damage when they come out. So this is really speaking to understanding that holding emotions and not processing them is going to be problematic. We do, however, this leads to Kenaz, and Kenaz is our torch energy. So this is about moving this stuck energy. This is fire energy tying in with Serpentine, which is going to help us melt. It's going to help us start creating flow, and it's going to help us start to see moments of illumination. We're going to start to see the benefit of processing and releasing emotions and getting into that space of flow to minimize the times when we are stuck. These 2 come around and they bring us to Ingwaz. Ingwaz is seed energy. So this is also fire energy. This is about beginnings. This is about potential. This is about starting something that is going to have or can potentially have a very fruitful future if it is nurtured appropriately. So I want to point out for this particular reading, when you look at Kenaz and you look at Ingwaz, do you see how Ingwaz, one of the ways you can understand the shape is that it is Kenaz reflected on itself. So not reflected, but it faces one direction and then it faces another. And in that center, we have that concentrated fire of the 2 torches reflecting upon each other, if that makes sense. So this, it really is a call to go within. It really is that combustion and that energy for illumination and lighting the way. It is found within. So a huge call for change in this reading. Very strong. The other components that we have coming out, we have Laguz, and Laguz is lake energy. So Laguz is our emotions again, because it's water. However, it is not stuck like our ice and our hail. It is, being a lake though, it is still, and therefore allows reflection. Being a lake, when you dive in, there can be a concern of being lost, of drowning, depending on the depth and your ability to navigate. So this isn't stuck energy, emotion energy, but it is an emotion energy that really requires that you have intention with your emotional development. Like I said, there's free will, there's always a choice, and everything is an invitation. So you always get to say yes or no, or you get to say not right now. You get to say, you know what, right now I'm focusing on this thing instead of that thing. I will do this when my resources are better and more equipped for a situation. There's that understanding in this reading too, is that these things are happening, they're moving, they're there, and it's inevitable that they are happening, but you do still have choice as to how you manage the flow of it. So long as you're working towards flow and alignment, because what we saw at the beginning, the more you resist opening that up and clearing the channels, the more frustration you're going to feel. And the more frustration you feel, the lower the vibration becomes. The more you feel like your hands are tied and you're just not seeing change, and perhaps things aren't happening for you, they're happening to you. It would be the kind of feeling that this stuck energy was having. So always your choice, and divine timing is a thing. So paying attention to synchronicities, paying attention to your energy reserves, paying attention to the things that nurture you, the things that nourish you and help you grow, versus the things that are going to limit you or take your energy and prevent you from growing, prevent you from moving in the directions that you need. We have Uruz, which is a representation of strength and endurance. It is a representation of our solar plexus. Our sacral chakra. So this is about tapping into our creative centers. This is about looking for the things that give us staying power, the things that ignite us, the things that excite us. Moving in this direction, focusing on the things that you want to go after, and sticking to that plan, sticking with that energy, is what is going to help you move through all of this a change and all of this untangling of this stuck energy. We have Manas, which is unity. This is about our humanity. This is about an understanding that you and I are not alone, that it doesn't really serve anyone when we think about what's in it for me. It is beneficial to think about it in terms of what is in it for us. And sometimes it can feel like that is not helpful or a contradictory way of thinking, because of situations where we look at someone and we disagree or we don't see the value. But what Manas reminds us of is that those differences are what help us build a foundation of strength. It wouldn't be very helpful if everyone in our society or everyone in your town or your community was a plumber. Do you know what I mean? It's the value of diversity, the value of having those different specialties but also then being able to still connect in with the whole and having those overlapping interests, those overlapping skills and abilities. That is what is going to create the cohesion, the coherence. And so what Manas is saying is, instead of this conflict, this constricted energy, when we align it, we're looking at concentrated energy. We're looking at really harnessing the creative forces that you find when you get that concentration through alignment, and then it becomes more powerful. It's not limiting, it's liberating. The final piece, I guess not. The second to final piece is Elhaz. Elhaz is represented by the elk. It is represented by the Valkyrie. So there is an understanding of stewardship, of taking care of something and being a protector of it. So in this case, it is important to know that there are divine forces that are working on your behalf. It is a reminder that because of free will, they will not intervene unless you ask for assistance. So Elhaz showing up is a reminder that you have resources, you have support beyond what you allow yourself to remember. And so when you get into those moments of real frustration, when you get into those moments where you're really feeling locked down and you feel like you don't know where to go, those are the moments to remember to reach out to your guides, your guardians, your guiding forces, and ask them for help. Ask them for guidance and direction. They are there to assist you with your growth and your goals and your challenges in this lifetime. So the final piece that I didn't see until I was moving everything, at the very bottom we have Fehu, and Fehu is representative of finances, it's representative of wealth, it's representative of resources that we have that enrich our quality of life. So this is indicating that as you work on these, as you start to shift from feeling that everything is knotted, that everything is tangled, and you start to untangle it and align it and concentrate it, you will start to see access to different resources that are going to improve your quality of life. And it's going to create a positive feedback loop. As these resources increase your quality of life, it is going to be easier for you to maintain that alignment. So that is your reading for this crystal. I hope that you have found it helpful, and I look forward to seeing you at my next reading. Thank you everyone who selected one of these crystals to receive the message or messages that Spirit needed for to deliver for you right now. I just want to close out the video by thanking my guides, by thanking your guides, and by thanking the runes themselves, as well as the different crystals that helped us harness the energy that we needed for these readings. I'm wishing you well, and I will see you at the next reading.